4%. So basically, that is what it is with regards to what the results are looking at. And these are the breakdown with regards to the constituencies. Bono, they have 1 to go. Bono is 11 out of 11. Ote is done. Northern is done. Savannah is done. And then you take a look at Upper West, it's also done. Then Northeast, they are also done. Go back a little bit to Western, they are actually done. Central is done as well. Greater Accra, they have 3 more to go. In the Eastern region, they are done, as I mentioned earlier. Volta is also done, but there is a twist to some of the developments that we have picked so far. We'll be heading into the Volta region pretty shortly to ascertain the fact of what's happening in Ketu North. Conflicting reports coming through. But let me quickly run you through some of the candidates that have been retained and then some of the newly elected PCs. Let's look at the Bolga East, for instance. Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayine, he has been retained as the MP and then the PC as well for Bolga East. Dr. Dominic Ayine has retained that particular seat. Here in Greater Accra region, you go to the Ningo Pram constituency. Samuel Nete George retains his seat as well. And then in the Kole Klote constituency, remember earlier in the morning, our focus was on that particular constituency as well, where our man Wisdom Hedejome gave us updates from that particular side. So the news is that Dr. Zaneto Ajma Rollins also has been retained. Now go to the Adan side, that is the Adan constituency. Honorable Doyo C. Comfort has also been retained. Then you go to Wa Central. You have Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpo. He has also been retained in Wa Central. Then there comes in the rather controversial one that has left social media buzzing for the past 1 hour or so. That has to do with Ketu North constituency, where Eric Edemagbana was earlier declared the parliamentary candidate elect. But like I did mention earlier, we'll go back to Ketu North pretty shortly and find out what really is happening back there. Whether or not that report we had earlier is still holding or not, we'll find out. Now you move on to Tema Central. Ebi Bright has been elected as a PC for that particular constituency, Tema Central. Then Kwame Agboja, they call him the Adaklu Messiah. He has been retained in the Adaklu constituency. He's leading the team, or he's leading Adaklu into the general elections as well. Mahama Ayariga for Boku Central has also been retained. So basically, these are some of the names that we piled up for you, so you can know who exactly has been retained and where they all belong to. So again, the 271 is confirmed out of the 277, waiting for the rest to also come officially. And when the final result is out, definitely we'll cross over to the national headquarters for that declaration to be made. But Bridget is here. Beatrice is also around. We'll take a quick look at some of the things that have come out so far. Bridget, conflicting figures in Ketu North. At the early stages, we had a report that Edem has been elected as the PC for Ketu North. But as it stands now, we heard also later, a few minutes after that, there has been a demand or request by the other candidates for a recount to be done, and when that was done, they realized that both, candidates have a tie. What exactly could be the cause of this? Is it the EC? Because the claim is that some of the ballot papers have not been stamped.
That shouldn't be Edem's fault.
Okay. So I'll get to you quickly, but let me just go back to the screens again whilst we try to get to the Volta region. But on the screens, as I indicated earlier, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, yes, something new has been added to it, but with the percentage difference, he is still leading with 98.69%. It is clear, it is crystal clear that he gets to lead the party into the 2024 general elections. But more particular, is the fact that they, I mean, what they have been calling for, the 99%, is what we are all looking at. If indeed they can end the night with the 99%, we wait to see after the declaration from the remainder of the constituency. So now we have 272 out of 277, so 5 more to go. Hopefully we should be done in a moment. Kojo Bonsu still with the somewhere hovering around 1.08%. And then he has a total of votes as it stands now 3,267. It has just gotten up quickly, 3,281, representing 1.07%. And then Dr. Kwabena Dufo as well, still with the 712 votes, representing 0.23%. The breakdown is still on a little bit of change. Great. So Central, I mentioned earlier, they are done. Greater Accra, 1 more to go. We have 1 more to go. Eastern is done, Volta is done, Ashanti, Western, North, and then Ahafo as well as Bono, all done. We're still waiting for Ashanti, 2 more constituencies to declare, so we can know exactly who and who has won and what. Bono region, for instance, 11 out of 12. We are still waiting for 1. I did mention earlier that you go to the social media platform, especially the Facebook page of Kojo Bonsu. He has put it out there that he has personally called His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to congratulate him and also go ahead to concede defeat in this election. I mean, who will not do that? You look at the margins, 98.69%, 1.07%. I'm not sure anything can turn around. And then this one as well. But the eyes are on him. Why? People want to know if indeed he will call to congratulate, just like Kojo Bonsu did a few minutes ago. So we are still waiting to see what really comes out from this one. We have gotten a new update. 273 out of the 277 constituencies declared so far. But again, we've been talking about this since morning. The total rejected ballot, now it has risen to 4,070, representing 1.32%. And again, you do the comparison, you add this to this, it will never even get to this. So most of the rejected ballots even outweighs what these 2 candidates have. So Bridget, Ketu North.
Yes, so I was saying earlier that whatever happened is not any fault, it can't be his fault.
Yeah.
What we also that was projected by the AC was that he won by 1 vote.
Yeah.
There was a first recount per what I saw on social media, and then another one again, which I think was unnecessary. They shouldn't have allowed it, even though, I mean, the rules permits that they do the recounts, I think 3 times or so. But I think the first one was okay. It was enough for them to go ahead with, because the more they do the recounts, the more it gives them the room to cheat. The more it gives them the room to add on and take out and all that.
But it's the same way the law allows you to call for a recount. I mean, if you are not too, comfortable, or too clear with the results, you have every right to call for a recount.
How many times?
So 3, I think.
So
Beatrice would have to help us legally.
I heard it's 3.
So, and then there is that explanation that if the first counts, the EC doesn't declare.
But what if it's signed? What if the pink sheets have been signed?
So that's also a different twist to the whole conversation. But are the pink sheets signed? To what extent? Where have they sent them?
Per what I saw on social media.
So then, on what basis would they even therefore agree to a recount if
when you've already signed and
everything has already been sealed? But you see, I mean, just having a difference of 1 raises an eyebrow, and most definitely in a lot of contexts, people will call for a recount.
Wait, you
everywhere
did
with
that
10,
once.
15, 20, fine. Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, the law permits that you can go as much as 2 or 3 times to call for a recount. So after the first one, and you see what happened. If they had not called for a second recount, nobody would have known that there were some ballot papers that were not stamped.
That is not even an issue.
It is because that is actually,
if the serial number in the booklet they were carrying, I mean, if it matches, then it could be an oversight from the EC person.
That's fine.
Who didn't stamp it. So they could just.
So the conversation is even 2 things now: the oversight. I mean, the part that the EC failed to play.
To stamp it.
That's a different one altogether. But that does not also negate the fact that, look, there has been some sort of anomaly. Because if the ballot papers are not stamped, it makes them
if it
invalid.
doesn't match with the serial numbers in the book.
Yes, the serial numbers could be there.
But if it matches,
yes, I agree.
It's
yes,
just
the serial numbers
that has to be correct.
So that's why with the ballot papers, you have serial numbers, you have stamps. There are other things also
to authenticate it.
To authenticate exactly the point. So if you are having the serial numbers,
so if you have one that matches, and then there's a stamp that I'm supposed to stamp on it, and I didn't stamp on it, but the serial numbers that have already been printed in,
yes,
it's not something that you write; they're already printed in.
Fine, but how about
that?
The stamps?
Is even legit than the stamp that you put on it.
Now, if they could even go further to do more of the counting again, perhaps.
No, but I mean, if they've already signed, I don't think it's an issue. If the pink sheets are there and it shows that you signed, I've signed, that I've won, I don't think I don't think Adam would just prematurely start celebrating when the pink sheets are not signed and everything.
Or when he's not sure
about his win. I'm sure he saw that he's won. I'm sure he realized the pink sheets have been signed and everything is in his favor. That is when he made the post and all that.
Interesting times, but again, to a large extent, what this means is that there could be another round of re-election.
There won't be any runoff.
No, but that's how it stands now. I mean, earlier the communication outfit of the region, that's Volta region, agreed speaking to us, but I don't know the points now. I mean, but I feel that we should know there are too many rumors. There are too many
what exactly
issues. Let us know. I don't see the qualms in a communication outfit.
Maybe they are yet to decide on what.
On what? There is total confusion. No, listen. There is total confusion, and I'm not picking up on any one particular, but that is your role. That is why you have been put there. That is why you are referred to as a communication outfit. We could call the chairman, we could call the vice, but the communication. I mean, what's the essence? If you don't tell the public what's happening,
I'm sure those people will have
if you tell us that, okay, you see, you and I are, dragging a particular issue, find out whether the stamps were there or not, and whether or not when you have the serial numbers on the ballot papers, it makes it valid or not. These are issues we should be cleared. We should be clear.
But Randy, I think the communications person would want to speak with the chairman and all those people involved, so that whatever he says, they will all be in the know.
You take orders from the top. But what I'm saying is that the issue is already in the public domain. Who doesn't know what's happening in Ketunov? That there is a call for a rerun. Who doesn't know that, the issue about ballot papers not being stamped? Who doesn't know about the fact that there has been
so far
a
as
recount?
We don't have info from the ground, and we are reading from.
So you leave people speculating, and at the end of the day, if you're not careful, because you see, both candidates in this are already taken to social media.
The fact that people are talking and assuming things does not mean that the communication outfit should be in the hurry to come and say something.
How long has it been?
As long as it would take them to sort things, as long as it would take them to sort things out, so that they don't come and say something and then the next minute.
But do they allow? Are they okay with the speculations?
The fact that they're speculating doesn't mean they should be in a hurry to come and give information.
The more the rumors keep going, it sinks into the mindset of people.
But at the end of the day, they'll come and speak, and we'll
so that is where questions will be asked. That's where the eyebrows will be raised. Concerns will be raised as well. Because just after the election, you declared it. You made us understand that this is it. Quickly, if there is a trouble, fortunately, there is no chaos there. People are not fighting each other. People are not killing each other. There is nothing of that sort. The people just want to know what exactly is happening. Is there a runoff? Is there a likelihood that there will be a runoff?
So we've mentioned a couple of things, Randy.
Is it 2, 3, 5, 8 or whatever?
We have mentioned a couple of things. They could cross-check from the ballot papers to the booklets to check the serial. They have to do all those things, and it will take a while. So let's give them the time to do all that.
Well, we are still waiting. When they feel it's right for them to speak to the media or to speak to the public on what's happening in Ketunov, that's up to them. But we'll keep you updated. The basic thing is that there is a tie after the second round of counting, because the other contender, Adam, he asked for a recount. The first one was done, and then the second one, of course, then they realized that there were some. And you see, the interesting thing about this whole thing is that when the second recount was done, Now they found 3 unstamped ballot papers. 1 in the total votes of Adam, 2 in the total votes of Edem. So you take this out, and then if you do the calculation, you strike it down, it brings it back to the same figure. And so if that is the case,
it's a big issue. I think it's something simple they can just work out.
So how then, what was the role of the EC in this? How on earth will you give a ballot paper to a voter without stamping?
I mean, it's a human thing. Mistakes do
This
happen.
is election, Ghana election.
It's still a human being working on it.
Stakes
and
are high.
Bound to make
North.
mistakes. But I'm saying that if 100 people should vote, and then you have 100 ballot papers, and there's a mistake or an oversight of a stamp being placed on paper, if you check the serial numbers in the map, just put the stamp on it and put
How
it
about stuffing of ballot boxes?
Was it stuffed?
I can't tell. How was the stamp?
How many people voted? You have verified people who voted. Say there are 10.
So somebody could also tell you that somebody could go through the process without necessarily picking the last ballot paper from the EC officer. That's several ways.
No, did they give?
Have you ever heard of?
When they
have
do,
you ever heard
take,
of?
they take.
I mean, the stuffing of ballot boxes.
Yes, I have.
It happens,
but
right?
in this situation, you've come for it. I've taken in my books, so we check.
Yeah.
It matches. It's not a big deal. Maybe they just want to steal or do something. That's why they will prolong it. But I don't see it to be any big issue for us to be.
Somebody's pushing
obviously something.
An agenda.
People will be pushing.
Some say Adam shouldn't have agreed on a recount.
For me, left to me alone, they shouldn't have any recount.
The law allows for a recount. When you say no to it,
no, but they did it once. It's okay.
The law still permits that you can go for the second round. I mean, so how didn't they get it first when the first recount was done? How didn't they get that there were some ballot papers?
Ask me that again.
It's interesting, the whole conversation in Kettino.
So I'm sure they are still plotting how to maneuver their way in and
could that
do
be possible?
It's possible. Everything is possible.
Interesting. Well,
but it's still a win for Edem. I mentioned earlier that Edem's win is going to be hope for a lot of young people who are looking up to him and all that. And it came and everybody was happy.
But for me, I don't know. From the feed we picked earlier, even a week ahead of today's encounter, engagement, you even mentioned that some projections give Edem some 70% margin. I remember when I interviewed he was actually on the dialogue show here on Ways or TV, and he was emphatic. He stated it boldly that he was going to win with a wide margin. But if the contest ends with just a little, it's a win, all right, but I feel, I'm quite surprised.
Should have been bigger.
Yes, exactly. And that would have been an overwhelming endorsement. Yeah. And nobody will even challenge this. If you had one, we'd say 100.
But if you ask some young people, they'll tell you Adam's win is a miracle.
Oh, okay, it's a miracle.
If you ask them, they
didn't see it coming.
It's a miracle. There are some people who were scared for him. There are some people who thought the people in the race are quite tough.
Quite tough.
Yeah, I have some money here. And
interestingly, some predicted that Dr. Agumenu could have been the closest contender, but I think with the reports that we have, he is even somewhere around the third.
My boss is in the race as well. My boss,
so he chopped how much?
Gabriel Kwame was in the race.
He chopped what, 4?
He was fourth in the race. Actually, I think he did well because the previous
was that his first time of
trying?
No,
that was his second.
Okay.
That was his second.
Okay.
And then he came fourth.
Not a bad try.
No, not at all.
But so again, investment.
Yeah,
people are talking. People are actually crying about the investment. Where investment simply means the amount, the quantum of money you have pumped into the whole process. Mind you, you started with campaign. You picked nomination forms filed, blah blah blah.
And because you want to go, people will come and ask for money.
Exactly.
Before you even start giving your money
I'm telling
and all
you,
that.
as at midnight yesterday into this morning, a lot went on. This morning, a lot had gone on. So the investment part, people are, quite unfortunate, but
as much as we are all hoping to win, you should know it's an election.
Yeah.
And you're not the only person going.
So then why do you invest?
Yeah.
Why do you invest so much? Why do you go for, we even hear people go in for loans to pump into elections.
And they will lose.
And you lose. How do you pay back? What kind of business venture is that?
One that will pay big.
Won't you use the money for some Koklo farm be somewhere.
I'm sure some have investors, some have financiers who
Yeah.
who
No,
push
but the
so much
financiers
money.
definitely would have their interest. So if their interest is for you to win and then you sort them out and you lose.
And also some of the candidates are sweet talkers, so
Yeah.
they'll present, I mean, such
So that should rather work
powerful
for you.
to the
For me, I
financiers.
feel that I should be able to speak to you. I should be able
Sweet
to
talkers, the
make you understand
financiers.
that I can do
Not-
the job. I should be able to tell you that this is the reality. I don't need to give you money. Why should I even pay you? Why should I buy cloth? Why should I buy TV? Why should I buy hair? How do you call that?
That is the order of the day now.
What's that called? A dryer.
Somebody even buys, how do you call this thing? Roofing sheets and cements, and I'm serious.
So in a constituency where you have over 1,000 delegates, how do you sort all these people out? So even if you are giving them 200 cedis each, just do that calculation.
There are options. If
You've
you want
printed T-shirts, you've printed flyers, posters, banners. You've gone for radio interviews.
Sponsors.
You've gone for TV interviews.
They have sponsors. A friend of mine who owns a print house said he's in some constituency. Like, he said, my candidate lost, so I'm drinking. He sponsored a guy with posters and flyers and all those stuff. And the guy lost.
You see the pain.
So he said he's drinking.
Okay. When you drink with some moderation.
I know,
Don't
right?
overdo it so that you end up hurting yourself. For the fact that you have lost, it's a contest. Beatrice, sorry. Sorry, off air we were having our usual conversation, but here comes in the legal terms again, and I'm glad you are here. We want to find out, really, what does the law really say that when there is a runoff, what happens? How many days must it take for a re-election?
I just didn't think that we should have allowed for this runoff.
Why? When you say us,
I mean,
the NDC.
whether the NDC or whoever is involved, I think that elections are very expensive, and to the extent that there are no allegations of vote pardon, to the extent that there are no allegations, some of these things can be administrative errors and oversight. I think that it could have been avoided, but they have 21 days to go for another election.
And at whose cost?
It's at the cost of the party. But if you're asking whether the delegates will have to reshare whatever the aspirants will have to reshare whatever they did to the delegates, then it comes with a second cost. And that's the more reason why I think that we could have avoided it. But I don't think that the situation is certain. I think that they still don't have a conclusion.
Okay.
They're able to resolve it without us having to go for runoff, because elections are expensive. We are not even in a good place as ordinary people, and so to subject the citizens or the aspirant to another election on the basis of some of these things, I think would be too much for them.
Who should be held responsible for this? The EC?
I think the EC, because I was thinking that because it's an internal election, for instance, we can look at the serial numbers and see whether there were new or foreign materials. If they are not, and we can reconcile, then especially when we compare it to the total valid or the turnout, and we see that it's a pure administrative errors, the parties can come to their conclusion. But then again, when this happens, one person loses, another person gains, so it becomes a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing, but no matter what, is the beauty of democracy. Democracy is very expensive, but no matter, and it's cheaper than any form of government, despite that as well. So it's a very painful experience. I don't know what Edem Agbana is going through. I don't want to imagine, because you get the representation that you've won. I saw flyers on social media congratulating him, and then these things are happening again. It makes it a very uncomfortable thing, for him as a candidate. I also don't know what the other contender is going through, whether he's excited or whether he will concede and say
Certainly,
that.
some of his pictures are also out. I mean,
Congratulating him.
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and so that's why I was so particular about getting a confirmation from the region. I mean, the regional office should be able to tell us what the way forward is, because this reminds me of what happened in the Nooks elections, where one party says, I am the winner, I am the president. The other guy also says, I am the president. So there was total chaos and confusion.
It happens, you know, it happens. It's something that we cannot take away from democracy. It's something that is the cost of democracies, especially when we are using the manual system that we are using, and we have to make do with it. We still don't trust the process yet to begin the conversation about electronic voting and what have you. So I guess it's the nemesis we have to live with, but my empathies to him, it's not a very pleasant thing as a candidate when everyone else knows their faith and you are still in limbo. It's not a very pleasant thing.
Great. Now I'm also concerned about the issue of recount. Some say after the third round of recounts there is no need going forward again. Now I earlier heard something that if the EC also does not declare in the first count, I mean, you can still go for a recount as far as, I mean, as much as you can, like 3 rounds or so. Is that correct?
Yes. You know, the parties are entitled to a recount, especially when one person feels that there may be some very valid reasons.
Yeah.
It is that which brings the challenge. But what can we do? That's the law. If a candidate is not happy, he can ask for a recount, and he has within some acceptable threshold to. So as long as he's within the threshold, you cannot really say that he's not exercising or he's not doing the right thing. Except that for some funny reasons, anytime there's a change, because in Adam's case, for instance, there was a first recount, he won by 1.
Yeah.
Then there is a second recount, and they say it's a tie.
Yeah.
Maybe Adam should also ask for a recount. Maybe he should also ask for a recount. Because
When they've already done 2.
yes, because for each one the story keeps changing. So maybe he can ask.
So this is my worry. How did they get the first one right? Then the second recount came in, and then they realized that there were unstamped ballots in that. How were they not able to identify or see that in the first recount?
Oh, for
How
that
possible is that?
No, for that you can't tell. It's a human institution.
Yeah.
There can be genuine errors.
Yeah.
I don't know, but if you are going to an election, you have to be very vigilant. Maybe Adam's contender felt that, well, if the margin is 1, maybe there is 1 somewhere that is waiting for me, or they may have padded it, and if we should count it again, something else will come out, and they recounted and it's a tie. Then he says, I believe that maybe there are 2 others, or maybe I have assurances from 400 people. So if I got 360, maybe I should push. It's just a game of chance. So you take your chance and you keep playing it. And for you who has won, you also have to be careful that you are not played anyhow. It becomes a bit complicated, but the most important thing is that I believe at the first count, parties should be vigilant so that some of these things would not happen. But the recount normally happens when the margin is just about 2, 3, 10. Then somebody has hope. But if the margin was 200,
100,
or
even 50.
Yes, sometimes people just give up and say that I genuinely lost this election. So that's why it's a close contest. I'm sure that's why we are having all these things. But let's see how events will unfold.
Great. So interesting times in Ketu North, a different twist to the whole earlier report we had. But well, let's see. Like Beatrice said, if indeed the party can easily address this issue. But on the screens now, that's the setup at the national headquarters of the party, and you can see the three gentlemen who contested in the primaries also on the banner. The media is heavily present and of course waiting for the announcement to be made. I told you earlier, once we have the clear view feed, we will cross over to the national headquarters to bring you the announcement and then take it from there. But the projections are still ongoing. We're still waiting for a few of the constituencies. We've done 273 out of the 277. Is anything new? Are you heading there? 98.69%?
No, I've told you already that if you're doing the valid votes count,
you've already crossed it.
But I think that we are appreciating, because at the time we were at 194 constituencies, the percentage was 98.62. Then we came to 201 constituency, the margin still remained at 98.62. Then by the time we were doing 211 constituency, the margin was 98.59, and when we go to 241, the margin was 98.63. So now at 98.69 is an appreciation, except to also say that if you look at the votes gathered so far by President John Mahama, which is about 301,000, with what is left, when you add, nothing would change substantially, because you have quite a number of votes coming in. I think we are left with about just 4 constituencies. From your board, Ashanti region.
Yeah, Ashanti region has 2 more.
Yeah. Greater Accra has one.
Greater Accra has 1 left, so 4.
Yes, so and in all these, it will still follow the same trend, and nothing will substantially change.
It wouldn't really change anything.
Yes, nothing will substantially change. But I keep saying that if you did the voter or the valid vote cast, Dr. Dufour is not part of the race. So we can take him out. I mean, officially he's not part. I don't intend to throw him, but he's not part of the race now. So if you look at the votes garnered by
Kojo,
yes, Kojo Bonsu, and that was President Mahama, you could see that we can do rounded figure of 99. Rounded figure of 99. Pending how the other constituencies
for the remaining 4,
and that is an endorsement. If you have over, so Kojo Bonsu has just been able to do about 1% of the votes President Mahama has got. It shows you that it's no contest. It shows you that this is a clear endorsement from the delegates that we are ready for the 2024 election. We are going with President Mahama and nothing else. And this has been the expectation of everyone. This is no news. This is not something new. I think everybody predicted this. I'm sure even Kojo Bonsu predicted it, because I watched one of his interviews and he said he doesn't understand why everybody is using President Mahama's picture.
Exactly, but that is true anyway. I mean, so even with Kwabena Donko, his son who contested, we saw some flyers where
but it shouldn't be difficult. They could have also filed candidates in the various constituencies so that the people would use their pictures. If the argument is about pictures, I'm not sure it will be a difficulty. But on a more serious note, I think that for us as a campaign team, our work has come to an end. For us, is the confidence and the delegates doing exactly what they promise. Is the people saying that we can give you the assurances, and you could see that for every constituency we went, which is 276 constituencies, because we added Guan, which is yet to be to be created. You could see the enthusiasm. You could see the sheer volunteerism that people are willing to sacrifice themselves for the NDC, and I appreciate the grassroots so much. I appreciate every branch executive, every member of the NDC, wherever you are, the commitment, and this campaign also brought something out. You realize that the constituency executives, together with the regional executives, were doing a lot of door-to-door campaign, trying to reach out to people and explain. And I want to say that we shouldn't end it today, because I think that the declaration will come soon, but we shouldn't end it. It is just the beginning of the major election. And so everybody in your own small way, the door-to-door is very important, so that we can reach out to as many Ghanaians as possible.
Now, Kojo Bonsu earlier called President Mahama to congratulate him. What do you make of that? Good call from him.
Oh,
sign of sportsmanship.
Oh, there was no sports in the first place, but it's a good.
You keep I mean, underrated.
No, I don't underrate. I think I just happen to be some
contest at least.
I just happen to be someone who has been alive.
This is a significant mark. Beatrice.
I agree with you entirely, because for a man who never campaigned, who never went around to get 3,281, he has done well. But you exaggerated in your questions when you say sportsmanship. You like using very big adjectives.
But what do you do when, I mean, after a contest, you extend your hand of congratulations to the
yes,
to the winner?
It's a good gesture. It's a good gesture. I'm sure he's been looking for the opportunity to talk to President Mahama, and this was a golden one.
Opportunity for him.
Yeah, to talk to him, and this was a golden one.
No, but there's a man who has worked with President Mahama as a mayor, so I mean, this shouldn't be the first time he might be speaking to you.
Oh yes, but I mean, as candidates, as you said, I should accord him his rightful position. So as candidates, I'm sure that, but it's a good gesture. Like I said, this is an internal contest.
It's a good start for him. He could come back again.
Oh, I mean, in democracy, you can't tell anybody. As long as you're an NDC member, you satisfy the constitutional eligibility, you can always come back.
And that's the point people make, that he's just writing his name down, so that after the 4-year tenure, definitely when the NDC goes to the primaries again, he can by then have won the heart of people.
I wish him all the best, except that in this contest, he had no chance. Except that sometimes I honestly think it was a waste of everybody's time. I think that it was a waste of...
You just said the person did not... he didn't campaign.
Yeah, so he wasted our time. That's the point I'm making. But it's good because it rejuvenated the base. If for nothing at all, I personally got to visit all the constituencies in there. So maybe I should be grateful to Mr. Kojo Bonsu, so that he gave me that opportunity. Apart from that, I didn't
think... You don't want to talk about Doc?
Doc is not in the race officially.
But he's done some campaign as well. So if you are thanking him for the fact that he joined...
But he did some campaign, I agree, but he couldn't sustain it. He couldn't sustain it. If he couldn't think about his journey to the north or to any of the constituencies, and he had to step down a night to the election, I have no sympathies for Dr. Dufour. I don't think that it should be an issue.
Do you think he should also call...
He never contested, so he may not call.
No, but he was in the race. He was. At the initial stages, he was. And even if
I think he was in the race is the wrong expression. I think that he was contesting.
Okay.
He was in the race presupposes that there was some form of competition and there was some uncertainty as to what can happen. So maybe we should use the right expressions.
You don't see that it was actually a race?
Really?
Or a competition?
Maybe I should.
So it
maybe I should find new definitions of race, competition, contest, because I think as Weasel TV here, the definitions are a bit different. So, but all in all, it's the beauty of democracy. I've told you that the NDC is about one of the political parties that have passed almost every stress test. Many, including myself, thought that this contest was needless. many thought that the outcome was already known because President Mahama in 2019 gathered 95.7%.
Yeah. Even at that time, there were some 7.
Yes, and all you needed to win was 50 plus 1, and you were good to go. So if anybody knew that and they attached some form of seriousness to the 2024 election, I didn't think that it was necessary. But like I keep saying, and I'll repeat, it's the beauty of democracy. We welcome any healthy competition, except to say that there were too many bitter people following Dr. Kwabena Dufour. I've told you, if you look at the vote pattern, it appeared that the delegates of the NDC like peace. Mr. Kujabunsu, I mean, on a very jovial note, once a while you see him appear, but largely nothing was heard of him. Dr. Dufour had a group of bitter people running very negative campaign. But I also salute President Mahama because in all that he ignored them, none of the places or any of the constituencies did he respond to them. In fact, the only time I heard him mention Dr. Dufour's name on the campaign was to show that he has been treated unfairly by the MPP when his bank was collapsed. So I salute him. You know, President Mahama has always been a statesman. He has a very big heart to accommodate all kinds of characters and all kinds of people. And it's a good time for us. We can take a very short commercial break and hit the ground running.
Well, that is according to Beatrice. We'll also be taking a short commercial break any moment from now. But again, let me run you through some of the updates quickly so you can know who has won what and at what constituency. So Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayene is part of the MPs that have been retained. He went in for the Bolga East seat. Sam George from Ningo Pram has also been retained. Dr. Zaneto Ajma Rollins, Koleklote constituency also retained. Honorable Doyo Comfort retained for Adak constituency. Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpo for Wa Central also retained. And then you look at Stema Central, Be Bright is in there as well. Mr. Kwame Agboja, the Adaklu Messiah, they call him, retained as far as that. And Mahama Ayariga retained for the Boku Central constituency. I think we can just take a quick break now and then come back later to join the feed from the national headquarters.
356,624 delegates will be voting as the NDC decides on Saturday, May 13, 2023 to vote to election 2024. Wezo TV will bring you all the updates from across the country. It will bring you a live John Mahama voting in Bole and the results after voting from 4 p.m. This is Wezo TV special. Wezo TV, we go all out for you.
I want to congratulate all members of the NDC. I think that so far we're having a successful primary, both parliamentary and presidential. I just voted in my constituency and we're hoping for the best. I don't know what else to say, but to thank everybody who has been involved in the success of this parliamentary primaries and presidential primaries. And we hope that after this is over, the party will continue to work together as one whole. The eyes are on the prize, that is the 2024 elections. And we're going to leave no stone unturned to be able to win those elections. And so we're going to work hard, all the constituency executives, all the national executives. I want to take the opportunity to also thank all the constituencies I went through, the executives who received me, and to thank them for the warm welcome they gave me. Today, I hope would be the last hurdle we cross before we put our eyes on the 2024 elections. We had expected to win by a landslide already, and I think that his withdrawal at the last minute does not change this, because I just voted, his face is on the ballot paper, and there are many delegates who don't even know he's withdrawn, and so the result is still going to be what it is, and I expect that it will be overwhelming. It will be a landslide. Parliamentary and presidential. I just voted in my constituency, and we're hoping for the best. I don't know what else to say, but to thank everybody who has been involved in the success of this parliamentary primaries and presidential primaries. And we hope that after this is over, the party will continue to work together as one whole. The eyes are on the prize, that is the 2024 elections, and we're going to leave no stone unturned to be able to win those elections. And so we're going to work hard, all the constituency executives, all the national executives. I want to take the opportunity to also thank all the constituencies I went to, the executives who received me, and to thank them for the warm welcome they gave me. Today, I hope would be the last hurdle we cross before we put our eyes on the 2024 elections. After this, we're going to go around the country, begin to select our polling agents, and then also put in place our results transmission system so that we're ready for the D-Day come 7th December 2024.
One of your main contestants stepped down yesterday. Does that change your prediction in terms of the percentage you want to get from these votes?
No, we had expected to win by a landslide already, and I think that his withdrawal at the last minute does not change anything, because I just voted, his face is on the ballot paper, and there are many delegates who don't even know he's withdrawn, and so the result is still going to be what it is, and I expect that it will be overwhelming. It will be a landslide.
What steps are you taking to address concerns that there's disunity in the party, considering Dr. Akodadu's situation?
There's no disunity in the party. Absolutely not. What's the disunity? So one contender was dissatisfied with the process and withdrew. It doesn't mean there's disunity in the party.
Are you looking to build bridges ahead after this event today?
Oh, of course. NDC is a family, and all of them are part of that family. And so as long as they're willing to come together and let's work towards 2024, I don't think there's any problem.
If they are willing to come together, are you looking to approach them yourself?
Oh, of course. The party would make overtures, and we've already been doing that. And I believe that in the run-up even to these primaries, any issues that we have had with the process, we've all been able to approach the national executive, and they've listened to us and tried to correct whatever the problem was. The problem with this one was they waited till the last 3 days to the elections and then decided to file an injunction on the process, and then later withdrew the injunction and then withdrew from the contest. It made it very difficult to deal with some of the issues they were raising at that time. And so I think that that's where the problem was. But I mean, these things happen, and we just look forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. Parliamentary and presidential. I just voted in my constituency, and we're hoping for the best. I don't know what else to say, but to thank everybody who has been involved in the success of this parliamentary primaries and presidential primaries. And we hope that after this is over, the party will continue to work together as one whole. The eyes are on the prize, that is the 2024 elections, and we're going to leave no stone unturned to be able to win those elections. And so we're going to work hard, all the constituency executives, all the national executives. I want to take the opportunity to also thank all the constituencies I went to, the executives who received me, and to thank them for the warm welcome they gave me. Today, I hope would be the last hurdle we cross before we put our eyes on the 2024 elections. After this, we're going to go around the country, begin to select our polling agents, and then also put in place our results transmission system so that we're ready for the D-Day come 7th December 2024.
One of your main contestants stepped down yesterday. Does that change your prediction in terms of the percentage you want to get from these votes?
No, we had expected to win by a landslide already, and I think that his withdrawal at the last minute does not change anything, because I just voted, his face is on the ballot paper, and there are many delegates who don't even know he's withdrawn, and so the result is still going to be what it is, and I expect that it will be overwhelming. It will be a landslide.
What steps are you taking to address concerns that there's disunity in the party, considering Dr. Akodadufor's situation?
There's no disunity in the party. Absolutely not. What's the disunity? So one contender was dissatisfied with the process and withdrew. It doesn't mean there's disunity in the party.
Are you looking to build bridges ahead after this event today?
Well, of course. NDC is a family, and all of them are part of that family. And so as long as they're willing to come together and let's work towards 2024, I don't think there's any problem.
If they are willing to come together, are you looking to approach them yourself?
Oh, of course. The party would make overtures, and we've already been doing that. And I believe that in the run-up even to these primaries, any issues that we have had with the process, we've all been able to approach the national executive, and they've listened to us and tried to correct whatever the problem was. The problem with this one was they waited till the last 3 days to the elections and then decided to file an injunction on the process, and then later withdrew the injunction and then withdrew from the contest. It made it very difficult to deal with some of the issues they were raising at that time. And so I think that that's where the problem was. But I mean, these things happen, and we just look forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to congratulate all members of the NDC. I think that so far we're having a successful primary, both parliamentary and presidential. I just voted in my constituency, and we're hoping for the best. I don't know what else to say, but to thank everybody who has been involved in the success of this parliamentary primaries and presidential primaries. And we hope that after this is over, the party will continue to work together as one whole. The eyes are on the prize, that is the 2024 elections, and we're going to leave no stone unturned to be able to win those elections. And so we're going to work hard, all the constituency executives, all the national executives. I want to take the opportunity to also thank all the constituencies I went to, the executives who received me, and to thank them for the warm welcome they gave me. Today, I hope would be the last hurdle we cross before we put our eyes on the 2024 elections. We had expected to win by a landslide already, and I think that his withdrawal at the last minute does not change this, because I just voted, his face is on the ballot paper, and there are many delegates who don't even know he's withdrawn, and so the result is still going to be what it is, and I expect that it will be overwhelming. It will be a landslide.